Oh, he's in good shape. Oh, he's wide, too.
Facing the Alaskan wilds and the shocks that flesh is heir to, as Shakespeare said, Bob Foulkrod goes for Dall sheep on Winchester Legends.
I'm just running on just sheer adrenaline at that point. You know, there's sheep on the mountain, and we're going to go up there and we're going to try to find one. Turn sideways there. We got a good look at him. He's a good sheep.
Winchester Legends is brought to you by Winchester Repeating Arms, the guns that work. She Outdoor Apparel, her adventure starts here. Ram, there are a lot of places to go in this big wide world, and the new Ram Outdoorsman can get you to every one of them. Hunter Specialties, the world's largest supplier of hunting accessories. And by Otis Technology, the most advanced gun care systems in the world.
Yeah, he's a good-looking sheep. He comes right up on that, both sides. Oh, he's in good shape. Oh, he's wide, too.
Yeah, he is wide. I like that.
Yeah, flares out there nice. Yeah. He's a good sheep. Wind's going that way. We gotta go up around. Come down on him. When did this hunt start? It started actually last year when I met Kurt Ellis at the Eastern Fanaz down in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. The more I talked to him, the more impressed I really was about him.
Ellis Big Game Guide's been family run for half a century, since it was started by Kirk's father, Bill, master guide and one of Alaska's mountain monarchs, the name given the famed old-timers. Ellis has dozens of camps for sheep, moose, and grizzly throughout the Wrangell Mountains.
Spent every birthday of my entire life right here. So yeah, we've been in it a long time. The whole family has, and it's a family-run operation. We do sheep and we do moose and grizzly bear. We do brown bear, black bear, and we have another area besides this one down on the coast, down the Copper River Delta.
You know, you do all the preparation at home that you possibly can do. You research out the outfitter. You feel confident when you leave home. There's things that you can't plan on, maybe like losing your luggage. Well, in this case, we stopped and we overnighted in Anchorage, and it was either on the airplane or in Anchorage. Man, I come down with a cold. I mean, I came down with it right now, and I knew it was going to be a bad one. I'll tell you what, we're standing here waiting to fly out. Boy, I felt a cold coming on. My throat was a little sore. Boy, did it hammer me last night. But my dad always said, he says you can go to the doctors and get some medicine. 7 days it'll be gone, or you can sit there and turn around and tough it out. In 7 days it'll be gone. So I guess we had the opportunity to do two things. We had the opportunity to sit here and sit around and camp, feel sorry for ourselves, or we go over there on that snow-capped mountain hunt sheep tomorrow. So I opted to get on this airplane and fly out and see if we can get ourselves a sheep tomorrow. We're going through the paperwork and getting the gear around and throwing our stuff in, and next thing you know, we take off. I'm just running on just sheer adrenaline at that point, because I mean, I just want to go to sleep. Man, you're at it all. And I've done this a lot of times, but I tell you what, when you see the snow-capped mountains and the fog rolling up off from it, and you see the ice glaciers, and then all of a sudden I look up and I could see our tent, and all of a sudden, man, where are we going to land? And I mean, the goosebumps just break out all over you. And you come down and you land, and you get out, and you're just in an awe.
I think you're even smiling.
How could you not love
Okay,
this?
take care. See you in a few days.
Snow-capped mountains in Alaska, airplanes. sheep, tents. Yes. Well, I tell you what, you wake up in the morning, and I was really feeling bad. I had a cup of coffee and a bowl of oatmeal, and you look right across our tent, and you've seen it before you went to bed, but you're looking at the ice glaciers, you're looking at that fog on the mountain, the snow-capped mountains, and you turn around and you glass up there, and there's a couple ewes and lambs, and you know, they're white sheep on that green patch, but they're still sheep just the same. You know, that's what you're here for. You know, there's sheep on the mountain, and we're gonna go up there and we're gonna try to find one.
With Bob on this hunt is another member of sheep royalty, veteran mountain guide Red Eiler, to lead the way and judge the rams.
Pretty sight in the morning there, isn't it?
Beautiful place.
Snow cap, glacier in front of us. Sun's just coming up.
Couldn't be better.
Yeah.
There's 7 head I saw earlier. One pretty good looking sheep in the bunch for sure. Might be more.
I get my memory maker right here. That's what this is, memory maker. I haven't got anything besides targets with this yet, so we're gonna make some memories today.
There you go.
Lead on.
All right.
Some people are pretty surprised as to what they find up here. It's pretty overwhelming. You know, everything's so big and so far, and none of these sheep have come easy.
We just kept going and looking for that legal sheep, and that's all you can do. I mean, you're hunting sheep, you're walking, you're looking, you're glassing. I think that's what I like about sheep hunting. No matter where you come from, no matter what your background is or what you do for a living, you have to climb that mountain. Good one.
Yeah, you gotta come take a look.
I got to get a little closer, but you certainly got the framework of a good sheep. Comes right down around, flares out. We should be able to keep wrapping around this bowl right here. Drop right in on top of him. You don't know how many days you can do this, but you're going to give it all you have, because that's what you train for. That's what you're here for. He turned sideways there. We got a good look at him. He's a good sheep. This thing's a couple hours away yet, and there's a lot between us and him. What a beautiful day to shoot a sheep.
Winchester Legends is brought to you by Winchester Ammunition, the American legend. Winchester Repeating Arms, the guns that work. Redhead, finest in the field since 1856. She Outdoor Apparel, her adventure starts here. And by Hunter Specialties, the world's largest supplier of hunting accessories. In the Wrangell Mountains, Bob Foulkrod's on the trail of Dall sheep, one of the greatest trophies of Alaska. And he believes he's found the right outfitter for the job.
I'll tell you what, you have a lot of competition out there when you're trying to book a hunt. You go to these sports shows and you talk to people, and I mean, they're throwing you a hype, and you ask them a question and they tell you what you want to hear. When I'm talking to Kurt, all I seen was confidence.
We've been at it all of our life. You know, we go out there and we hunt, and we try not to pump the people full of bull. It is hard, it is difficult. Been here long enough to cover the whole country pretty much.
Kirk's outfitting lineage in the Wrangell Mountains dates back to his father Bill, who began guiding here in the 1950s and went on to become a master guide and accomplished bush pilot. In one way or another, guiding and flying are an Ellis family tradition. A skilled welder and mechanic, Kirk not only maintains his Super Cub planes himself, he even builds them from scratch, like his green custom 4-seater, the Hulk. With a $3,000 pair of special Tundra tires, Kirk can land his planes almost anywhere in his large hunting territory.
You know, this is an extraordinary plane. He built this plane. It's a Super Cub, and it's got more room into it than most Super Cubs have. You know, so what does that tell you about Kurt Ellis all by himself? There's no way to prepare. I mean, I prepared my equipment, I prepared my body, I've done everything I can do, but I wasn't prepared for what's coming down. I can't breathe. I'm breathing through my mouth, and I'm taking a step. And like I always say on a hunt, people don't want to hear you whine. You know, all that does is that brings everybody down. So you try to put a smile on your face, and you know, and I think I'm the little train. I think I can. I hate sheep.
This episode of Training Camp is brought to you by Otis Technology, the most advanced gun care systems in the world. Many people come to practice their long-distance shooting here in Pennsylvania at the World Open.
I want to know why you do this in the off-season. Well, trying to read the wind, and I'm here for one reason, and that's for that Dall sheep.
Here, it's not only for fun, but it's a competition to see who can take on the challenging course of better shot placement.
Well, look at all them years I want to relay and you guys didn't.
So I'm going to be in the top 50, and that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Well, this is where it's happening right here, the World Open, and these folks down here behind the scenes, they're scoring these targets for us, and they're pulling them up and down. They work hard, and they got brand new kits to work into it at the World Open.
People wait anxiously for their results.
When they get done, they bring up all the scores, put your targets here, and they'll put the relay winners and what everybody did, so you can see where you did. What do you say? First loser.
Like they always say, practice makes perfect. This episode of Training Camp is brought to you by Otis Technology, the most advanced gun care systems in the world.
You don't know how many days you can do this, but you're going to give it all you have, because that's what you train for. That's what you're here for. What do? You know, you just don't quit. You just keep going.
The Dall's the lone wild sheep found in Alaska, and is named for the scientific explorer William Healy Dall, who was making expeditions to Alaska while it was still Russian territory. The Dall's a thin horn, as opposed to a bighorn, and rams can weigh up to 250 pounds and have 40-inch plus horns. Besides Alaska, the Dall's found in the Yukon, the Northwest Territories, and a corner of British Columbia, while the other wild sheep range farther south.
Well, we're looking and glassing, and you know, we're seeing sheep, but we haven't seen the right one. And all of a sudden we came up over this little rise, and we look off to our left. Red says, geez, there's a single sheep, we better, he says, so he gets his spotting scope out, and he looks in there, and he says, look in there. He says, this one's worth taking a better look at, you know. And I look in there, you know, and I go, yeah, you're right, Red, he's a long ways away, you know. But that's the best one we've seen. We need to take a better look at him. He turned sideways there. We got a good look at him. He's a good sheep. That is the advice that my expert guide told me. This thing's a couple hours away yet, and there's a lot between us and him. I mean, you're looking at going down through a creek, and you're looking at going back up hills, and there's probably 3 or 4 gullies and stuff in between us, and stuff that we don't even know yet.
Who knows where he's going to end up by the time we get there, but he's feeding, you know, and he's kind of getting farther away from our vantage point there.
There's several requirements that you can go by to make a legal sheep here in Alaska. They have the 8-year requirement that the ram needs to be at least 8 years old, whether he's full curl or not. That constitutes counting the rings on the ram. And the sure requirement that I use most often, of course, is the full curl, to where the tip of the horn needs to come and at least touch the base of the horn. It needs to be broomed on both horns.
Dall sheep add a new horn segment each year. And to be legal, a ram has to be at least 8 years old and have a full curl that circles back to the base of the horns.
What a beautiful day to shoot a sheep. 47 degrees. Got a 3-mile-an-hour wind, 2.5.
Wind is a big factor to sheep. I know that the deer hunters can really relate to this, but sheep have real sensitive noses here, especially if they've been pushed a little bit. So you have to play the wind quite a bit, and that's always a factor in things.
If we play this by the book and look at it, we should be able to get within 200 to 300 yards of this animal, even closer. It was about 2 hours. We're within 500 yards of it.
Winchester Legends is brought to you by Winchester Ammunition, the American legend. Winchester Repeating Arms, the guns that work. Redhead, finest in the field since 1856. She Outdoor Apparel, her adventure starts here. And by Hunter Specialties, the world's largest supplier of hunting accessories. Battling steep terrain and a bad cold, Bob Foulkrod and his guide Red Eiler have spotted a trophy Dall ram in Alaska's Wrangell Mountains. Now they have to see if they can close the gap and get into range.
If we play this by the book and look at it, we should be able to get within 200 to 300 yards of this animal, even closer, but we have to go uphill. I didn't want to go uphill, but I also knew that we had to go uphill. And it was just about right. It was about 2 hours. We're within 500 yards of it. And now we're going to see, okay, is this 2-hour walk worth it or not? Gosh, when we got into that rock, it was just like we practiced at home, almost the exact same distance. But shooting at a target is not like shooting at an animal. I mean, the first thing that happens to me, especially when I start to get ready for the shot, my heart starts to race.
Past experience has shown Bob all too well the effect buck fever can have on his shooting. The Winchester Power Max bonded centerfire bullet is ideal for big game and demanding conditions. With its protected hollow point design and bonded lead core, welded to the contoured copper alloy jacket through a secret process, the Power Max bonded bullet is perfect for accurate shots in steep terrain, delivering drop-dead stopping power and massive frontal expansion.
Dead sheep right there. There's a bad angle. Wait. Here we go. There's a nice sheep right there. This is what we came for. And it was by the book. I mean, a perfect stalk. We done everything by the book. We got in on a perfect animal, and there he is, like that. Now we got to get to him. Look at that glacier in back of me. I'm telling you what. We've been looking at that ever since we got here. And to take a sheep right there looking at that glacier, I want to tell you, that's making some memories right there. 2 hours later, we get to him, we could finally put our hands onto him. And oh my goodness, he didn't shrink at all. Look at that. Beauteous.
Just gorgeous.
Oh, he just flares right out there. I appreciate you not running me to death too. I was sucking air, man. I couldn't get any air. My nose wasn't working, and oh.
Rooting for you. You're sounding better than you did, though.
No, how can you not?
A little loud out of you, I think.
That's it. How can you not help but feel better on a look at that glacier and the snow-capped mountains and this beautiful sheep.
Life don't get any better, does it?
I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, me too.
Appreciate it.
I've enjoyed hunting with you. I've been looking forward to it.
I have too. What a pleasure it was to be on this Alaskan experience. This was more than just a Dall sheep hunt. This was about making memories and being with legends. Red, my guide, with over 100 sheep and under his belt. Being about Kurt building this airplane and telling the stories about not only flying it, but building it. This was about making memories and being with friends. And I'm Bob Foulkrod, and thank you for watching another Winchester Legends.
Winchester Ammunition introduces the all-new Winchester.com, featuring hot new graphics, hunting and shooting tips, and improved information on all ammunition products. And if you're into ballistics, check out the most advanced ballistics calculator in the industry, and then download it as an app for your iPhone and carry it with you into the field. Whether you're a hunter, shooter, or both, when it comes to online resources, Winchester is the industry leader. www.winchester.com.